Great, Billy. Thank you so much for taking the time. I've been dying to talk to you, so this
cool,
is great.
Man. Thanks. Right
so
on.
last time I saw you was at the Mountain Winery in Saratoga. So you guys are going to be there, I believe, next month.
Yep.
And so excited that I get to see you play again. I had
cool.
a chance to meet you backstage, and I got to tell you, one of the things that I enjoyed quite a bit about seeing you play, that was the first time I saw you play, post to obviously Chris, and I got to tell you, your sound was phenomenal. You've been able to be really flexible with the different variety of sounds that you're getting out of your instrument. So, can you tell us a little bit about your approach to setting those and programming those sounds as you're going into these different tours?
Yeah, well, a big part of the sound is the bass L, the source, which is vector basses, which I use. And then it's kind of a combination from there of line 6 pedal boards that are where all the effects come from, various, envelope filters and distortion choruses and things. And then it all comes out, I run all that through an X32 console, digital console, where I can kind of take that blend and refine it with an EQ and compression and whatnot. And then that all spits out to front of house, and it also goes my amplifier rig on stage, which is Tech 21s. I have a set of 2 4x10s, and the rig is stereo, which is nice. And that combination of stuff, it gives you that driving, sort of squirey kind of tone that I've always been drawn to.
Right. A lot of fans are asking, I think they probably posted this or asked you in some shape or form, what are you doing on your iPad?
The iPad, one of them is for the console, so that I can mix myself in monitors, and I have the in-ear mix coming from the same console that I send the sound to front of house out of, so it serves a dual purpose for me. And the other iPad is for various lyrics and or chart, and things that are a little hard to sort of remember on the fly.
Gotcha.
So it's a combination of those two together. They work quite well.
Wonderful.
Rather
Great.
than having stuff all over the ground and having to run back to the console to change things, I can do it all now from right there. I don't have to move around.
Right. For us Yes fans that have been seeing you guys perform over the decades, any little minutia like this that we see that's new, it's always interesting, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
So
I
thanks
love
for
the
sharing
high-tech
that.
stuff.
Yeah. So tell us about Yestival. How is it going, and what can the Yes fans expect out of the band that perhaps they haven't seen or heard thus far?
It's been going really, really well. Carl Palmer just kicking major booty every night and bringing down the house. And then Todd Rundgren, of course, is phenomenal with his band. And Chasm Sultan playing bass on there. He's one of my heroes from way back. And their band is fantastic. And then we play, and we do this chronological set starting from the first album right up through Machine Messiah, which is on the Drama album.
Yep.
And it's a mixture of material leading up to there. And you get a nice sense of Yes development and the sound and how things changed in the writing along the way. And it's quite a unique set. People seem to be enjoying it.
Right. And tell me, what was the criteria that you guys followed when you were trying to select the set list? Because what's obvious is that there's nothing from Open Your Eyes, which you were a part of. And so help us understand that. And, of course, there was Heaven and Earth. So what was the decision as to why not to include those albums, for example?
Well, we only had 90 minutes as opposed to when we play by ourselves where we have 2 hours and 20 normally. So in this case, it was just a matter of how far can we go in 90 minutes, and that seemed to take us to the drama record, really. So that's kind of the answer to that. There's just, we're limited by time, really.
Right.
Gotcha.
So tell us about, you guys are performing now with 2 drummers, and given the synergistic relationship between bass player and drummers, tell me about how are you adjusting your playing to accommodate the different 2 styles, and what was the decision for which songs Alan would play and which ones would Dylan play, for example?
Well, they sorted that stuff out, and I just kind of went along the program. But I'm so used to playing with Alan for so many years, not only in Yes, when I was in the band before, but we were in Circa together and Conspiracy. So playing with Alan is very, very easy and something very natural. Dylan's playing has been really, really good inside the band, and it's just a different feel, and there is some adjusting that has to go down to that. But for the most part, on this tour, because of the way the stage is set up, I don't have the advantage of being able to stand next to Dylan because of my cables. So basically just kind of head down and get to the end, but it's all feeling really good.
Right. Good. So now that you've been with the band, for some time now, are you exercising any creative freedom with Chris's parts? I know that there could be a situation where you want to be religious about things, And then you as a producer
Yeah.
with all your experience producing, I'm sure there are things that are coming to mind that, hey, it would be cool to do it this way instead. How are you working that through in your mind?
Well, there's definitely certain pieces and areas that you have to maintain the script, so to speak, and you want to stay on point with all the things that we're all used to and know and love that Chris did. But then there are other elements within all the music where there's a bit of improvising that can go on. So it's just a matter of trying to be tasty and find those moments and pay respect where respect is due, and then kind of do my own thing inside of that, you know. So it's something that has come naturally to me because I know Chris does so well. So I know those areas where I can take a little liberty, and I know the areas where to kind of pull back and stay on script, so to speak. So it's been kind of easy, but there's a lot of room for improv inside of this stuff, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. So speaking of Chris, you guys obviously spent some time during your conspiracy days. Fans want to know if there's anything left over from those sessions that might see the light of day at some point.
Unfortunately not. Everything we ever did, Chris and I found a home. So all the material that was cut for Conspiracy was cut to order, so to speak. And there's really no hidden tracks lying around that I can recall. I'd have to look in all the archives to confirm that 100%, but I'm pretty sure that everything that we've ever worked on has found a home.
Right, got it. So you guys are going to be performing in the Mountain Wine, actually at the Warfield in San Francisco next month. And so, of course, our Bay Area fans want to understand, when you guys think about San Francisco and the Bay Area, whether it's the Mountain Winery in Saratoga when you perform there, or in San Jose, or in San Francisco, what is the perception of the band about the Bay Area?
Well, for me as a Californian, I love going out there anytime that opportunity presents itself, and it's just a beautiful part of the country, and San Francisco is a really unique city in its own right, you know, as LA is, and so it's nice to get out there and feel the different sort of vibe of the city. But it's just gorgeous. It's just a beautiful place to be, and I love being there. So, you know, anytime, as I said, I can get up there, I'm into it. So I'm looking forward to it again.
That's great. What is a typical day when you're on tour? For example, you arrive to, let's just say, San Francisco. What is that day going to look like for you?
Well, they all sort of start to blend in together, these gigs, and they become kind of a blur. But you remember the venue and you remember the city that you're in, first and foremost, by, you know, just the experience of the city. But so the travel days are pretty much all the same, where we just get up and either take a plane somewhere, or as is the case today, we're traveling in this big bus heading from wherever we just were in Philly, is where we were, and we're now going to Foxwoods, Connecticut. So a lot of the day is spent traveling, and you get to the hotel. You have a couple hours to sort of refresh, you grab a shower and bring yourself back to life and play the gig, which is always, you know, you're totally energized, play the gig at that point. And then rinse and repeat and start that cycle all over again. I just finished an Asia tour because I replaced Wetton in the same way that Chris asked me to join Yes when he fell ill. Wetton did the same thing. So I just finished 45 shows with Asia opening for Journey, and you know, so I've been out here now I feel like I'm on a mission to Mars at this point. It's quite a while.
Yeah.
There's still quite a while to go, but I love what I do, and it's a blessing to be able to do it. So I'm not complaining, that's for sure.
So tell us about. So we get to see you guys interact musically on stage. What is happening socially when you guys are on tour?
You know, we all like each other, so we hang out and go to dinner together, or, you know, I see the guys at breakfast, and then, you know, we socialize together, so it's nice, and we all enjoy each other's company. It makes the touring much more easy when it's like that, and same was said for Asia, you know, it was a lot of fun. So it's just a lot of fun hanging out with your friends, traveling around the country. Got it.
And tell me a little bit about the personalities. Do you have anyone in the band that is the jokester, anyone that's more of the philosopher? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I guess they think I'm a joker.
Yeah.
I like to keep the vibe light if possible. But it's, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's really serious about music, that's for sure. But there's a lot of laughter and observation that goes on along the way. And we're always very hypercritical of our own performances. So we'll talk about shop for a bit in the truck as well to make sure whatever might have been a little sideways on one show gets tightened up on another. But it's all very casual and very relaxed and very fun. There's no weird vibes at all. It's just a pleasure.
Great. Billy, I got two more questions for you. I'm going to ask you one question that I asked Chris Squire way back during the Ladder days when the guys were recording the Ladder, and I want you to take maybe 5 seconds just to think about it before you answer. And
Sure.
the question is, what does yes mean to you?
Well, for me, it goes back to being 12 years old and discovering this band and falling in love with the music and following the band, through the following decades. And just, it was always my favorite band. I mean, I've listened to a lot of other music, Genesis, Gentle Giant, UK, Utopia, XTC. I have a whole huge list of things that I love to listen to because I love all kinds of music. But Yes was always my favorite. And as fate had it, my roads crossed paths with theirs and ended up somehow joining and working with these guys in ways I never imagined along the way, and more recently in ways I really never imagined, which was Chris, asking me to take his spot, which was probably the heaviest thing that's ever happened in my life / career. And it's just a very surreal experience, very, very surreal.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I'll tell you what Chris responded. It was hilarious and it was interesting, and it just gave you some idea.
As he was.
Yeah, of course. So I asked him the same question. I asked him to think about it before he responded, and the response was, "It's a job." That's all he said. It's a job, and he started to laugh.
Yeah, well, he was being coy there because I know Chris. His passion was yes, that was his world. So it was. He might have said that, but I know it was a lifestyle, really, and of course a job, because it is a job to get out here and travel around and play. I mean, it looks very romantic from the outside looking in, but a lot of the hard work is done in the traveling and getting to and from various places. But at the end of the day, it's always a blessing to play music. But I know he loved doing what he did, so it may have been a job. He might have said that, but I know that he couldn't live a day without it. That's for sure.
Right. Okay, here's one for you. Chris had his typical solo during Worm, where he would do his little dance across the stage.
Yes.
When are you going to do that? The crowd would go wild if you have your choreography.
Well, there are certain trademark things that I'm trying to not do that Chris did, because there's a part of me that feels like it might be a little cheeky and a little too strange. So I try to do my own thing in my own way in that regard and hope that it works, because I don't want to cross any sacred lines, so
right.
to speak.
No, I get it. I get it. I could tell you that the fans would probably just go nuts. They would just love it. So anyway, so thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see you guys at the Warfield in San Francisco. I hope I get a chance to see you backstage and say hello.
That'd be great.
But have a great time, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much.
Take
Bye-bye.
care, bro.
You too. Bye.